Hello, my beautiful collective. How are you? This is going to be kind of the trend I think is called a blackout reading where you're not really seeing me, but I'll put an image up that I feel like is relevant. But Spirit's giving me the download now, and I wasn't fully ready to do all kinds of visual recording, so this is what you're getting, my voice. So I'm being shown and I'm being told. And know that this is all symbolic, y'all. But Spirit is saying sometimes it is necessary for you to bring a knife, a sword to the fight. And if you have been battling in the spiritual realm a lot lately, probably you're feeling a little bit more than usual lately. Know that the spiritual wars that are happening in the other realms, they're getting close to this realm. They're in this realm, actually. As the Spirit said, they're already here. And so, and because so many earthlings, so many earth angels out there like yourself are coming into their own realization of their own powers, beginning to understand themselves and see through the illusion that the spiritual war, has placed upon the world. If you get it, you get it. But because you get it, you've got to understand that you are going to be tapped into all of the chaos that these spiritual wars have been causing. You're going to feel it in your body. It's going to feel like maybe suddenly you can't sleep through the night. It's going to feel like you're suddenly very sensitive to noise. It may feel like the foods that you usually eat, they just don't appeal anymore, and you've got to simplify your diet even more. Meaning, like, if you were vegan, you might be leaning more towards eating mostly raw, simple foods. Meaning, if you were kind of eating meat and maybe you were omnivore, you're going to find yourself going vegan. It's whatever it is, these are just examples, y'all. You're going to find that you're leaning less into the complex and more into the simple. And Spirit is saying that is purposeful, that you need to clear out a lot of the clutter. And again, that can be very real or it can be symbolic. Clearing out the clutter of your mind, what you're exposing yourself on the daily. It also can be just clearing out the clutter of various relationships. I think many of you have found that your appetite for inauthentic relationships or really surface level relationships is just no longer there. You simply just don't have the time. Time meaning you just don't want to spend your energy that way. And so it's all coming together. And I think if you've been on this spiritual road for a while, things have changed, things have shifted, and it's all coming together. But Spirit wants to go back to that statement. Sometimes you have to bring a sword to the fight. Meaning, the swords in tarot represent the deep intellect, a logical understanding, but also rooted in the spiritual knowing of this world. Meaning, once you see what Spirit gives you to see, you act on it in a logical, methodical, strategic fashion. Now, for those of you who are building your shrines, who are building your ancestor altars, Spirit is saying you would probably find it beneficial to get some type of symbol of a knife or a sword, depending on your culture, machete. Now, it can be an actual item, or it can be some kind of symbolic of what that sword energy would be. And place it on your shrine, on your altar, whatever place you have designated for your spiritual work. Because Spirit is showing me that when you come in contact with this energy, it is going to be a tool that you take into the ethers. Not so much into the 3D. The 3D is just acquiring it, right? Not using it in the 3D. Although maybe there's some martial art form where you might use a sword and you will know. But this sword energy is for you to take into the dream world, into the ethers, as your weapon, as your protection. But your 3D body needs to come in contact with the energy to download it into your consciousness. That's how I'm hearing it. To somehow give your consciousness the construct for the tool that you will be using in the 5D, in the ethers, in the other realms. So Spirit is saying you may find that very beneficial going into the next full moon and going forward. And so if you can't acquire something by this full moon, don't worry about it. But if you can, that would be great. And place it upon your altar. And imagine in your visualizations, maybe before you meditate or after you meditate, you taking that sword and wielding it. Like almost in a, kind of if you watch those Chinese martial arts films, in that way of like holding this knife, this sword, this machete, as if it's got magical powers, and that you wield it because you are connected with it. Spirit is saying, by seeing yourself and imagining yourself wielding this sword, wielding this knife, you are going to embody an even deeper intellectual, spiritual alignment in the next few weeks. You're going to see some part of your intellect come online with your spirit. Meaning, you may start to see stuff even more clear than what you're seeing now. Maybe for some of you, you've been like, okay, my intuition is heightening. I can tell when something's kind of not for me, but sometimes I still struggle figuring out relationships, or sometimes I still struggle figuring out boundaries. Spirit has that taken care of for you. They say that when you imagine yourself like a great martial artist, even if you've never done martial arts before, wielding this sword, just taking a few minutes to imagine yourself doing that, then you will start to, you would have taken that action that would have begun to bind these energies together within your consciousness, within your body. So there's something there about this brain-spirit alignment that is going to transform you and help you understand even at a heightened speed, what is for you and what isn't for you. What needs an immediate boundary and what is okay to watch and hunt. So if you get this message, you get it because Spirit is saying it's very specific. It's for those who have been working at a certain level. So if you're very new to spirituality and somehow this is not clicking for you, don't worry. Just pen it, save it for later. Because this is kind of for people who are in an intermediate to more advanced stage of advancing their gifts. And Spirit is trying to give you an additional tool to understand how to work with the energy of air, the energy of the sword, the energy of the machete. The machete creates the path, right? So understand that the sword slices through the air, gets to the point, is sharp. None of this has to do with fighting. None of that. It has to do more with understanding the power of your mind-body state. And it's going to be symbolized through some type of knife, sword, machete. It could be a picture of one. It could be an artist's depiction of one. It can be an actual one that you find. Either way, you're going to place it wherever you do your spiritual work. And maybe Spirit is saying here for 7 days, take about 5 to 7 minutes to imagine yourself in your inner imagination wielding this knife, slicing through illusion and coming to deep clarity. Okay, my loves, I hope you find this useful. Leave a comment below if this makes sense. In the next 7 days, you may see deep transformation by taking on this advice and doing what it is that you feel called to do. Take it as it resonates. Take care.